I guess the anti-woke who have been championing Expedition 33 to win Game of the Year since the Game Awards announcement are now gonna change their mind when the lead actress says, I chose Queer Joy.
Wrong, sir. Wrong.
I chose Queer Joy.
I don't care.
What's up, space pirates? This is your Admiral, the endlessly edgy Dr. Disaster, and it is utterly insane just how misunderstood a lot of us gamers are who simply don't want to have progressive preachiness in our video games.
I'll make you understand.
The problem that we run into is that for the so-called chuds in the gaming community, it is convenient for our opponents to pretend that we are mindless brutes. The corporate butt kissers and the progressive shitlibs need us to be bad people. Otherwise, it becomes obvious that we make some pretty decent points, that for a lot of games out there, over the past several years, the developers and writers have spent a good chunk of their energies trying to push a series of agendas.
Stop lecturing me, please.
I don't mean to lecture and I don't mean to preach.
Stop pretending.
It is with this in mind that I now turn my attention to Clair Obscur Expedition 33. Now, I'm sure that I've probably made this pretty evident by now, but I am a really big fan of Clair Obscur. It was one of the best, newer games that I've played in a long while, but Jennifer English, who plays one of the main characters in the game, just won the award for Best Lead Actor at the Golden Joysticks, and she gave a speech when she won it talking about queer joy and the backlash to this. Well, here's a summary of what I've seen online.
We don't give a shit!
Seriously, nobody cares who this woman wants to sleep with in her own private life. It does not change how we feel about Clair Obscur. The fact that she is gay was known back when she was in Baldur's Gate 3 and in Elden Ring, and that did not stop those games from being huge and well received by gamers. The woke crowd is desperately trying to prod their enemies into turning on Clair Obscur because they desperately want to be able to claim that game as their own. But in reality, it stands, Clair Obscur that is, stands against everything that they support and everything which supports them. It stands against AAA corporate slop, chasing trends, because, let's face it, that is what has been propping this woke shit up. A bunch of corporations who want to be seen as the good guys for listening to the so-called oppressed masses. Meanwhile, this little AA studio, Sandfall Interactive, has simply done exactly what the chuds have been asking for all along, and they've done it without the massive AAA price tags that we've seen these days. They made a game without preachiness, and they focused on a fun experience. These people can pretend that we hate Clair Obscur, but if anyone is hurt by it, well, we all know who that is.
Come, let me kiss you.
Alright, me hearties, make sure that you hit the like button on this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done it yet. I've had a lot of people tell me that they've been unwillingly unsubscribed to the channel. Almost every day I hear from someone who says they didn't believe me when I talked about this phenomenon, but then they noticed that they themselves were unsubbed from the channel. I don't know why it happens, but I hear it a lot, so look into that. I will be making this portion of my videos skippable from now on by making them into a chapter on the video timeline, but I do need to keep saying this because the amount of people telling me that this happens to them is unbelievable. Anyhow, let's talk about what just happened with Clair Obscur. The fact that Jennifer English is a lesbian has been a known quantity for a while now, and I sincerely don't understand why this is supposedly such a problem now. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure that there are some people out there who are angry about this development and saying some stupid shit on social media or whatever, but the vast majority of people talking about this really don't give a shit. This tweet has been making the rounds on social media.
I guess the anti-woke who have been championing Expedition 33 to win Game of the Year since the Game Awards announcement are now gonna change their mind when the lead actress says, "I chose queer joy."
Or, and this might be a shock to you here, but we might just shrug our shoulders because people say things in award speeches. As Yellow Flash said in response to this guy on X, "I don't care if people want to be gay." And that pretty much sums up my own feelings on the matter. I sincerely don't give a shit. Now, was Jennifer's speech a bit cringy? Yeah, I think it was. She's still acting like her sexual identity is a huge part of her personality, as if this is still 2020 or something, but basically she sounds like an entirely uninteresting person, to be honest. But that is a her problem, not a Clair Obscur problem, because it didn't manifest itself in the game in the slightest. I have a good friend who is a lesbian, and one of the reasons that she's my friend is because she's interesting. Her sexuality almost never becomes a part of any conversation that we have. In fact, to be honest, she hates that sort of conversation as much as anyone else. She just wants to sit down and play Magic the Gathering with me and all of her other friends. She would look at the speech given by Jennifer English at the Golden Joysticks, and she would roll her eyes just like anyone else. And to be clear, it is a bit cringy, what she was saying in her speech, but it isn't the worst thing ever. Sometimes people just say cringy things. I'm not going to worry about it myself. It would be a lot tackier if she were accepting an award for the game as a whole, but since this was an individual award, she gets a bit more leeway. But here, let me just show you the clip and you judge for yourself.
Crazy journey. She chooses to live a life that wasn't serving her. And I did that a few years ago. And I chose instead a life that was authentic, a life that was gay. I fell in love with a beautiful woman who's crying her eyes out right now. It's really funny. And I chose queer joy, and as a result of that queer joy, I felt safe enough to pour my grief and pain and all that nonsense and joy and love into this incredibly beautifully written character. And I am so proud of that, and I just want to thank Queer Joy for that.
Like I said, it's a bit cringy for sure, but not the worst thing ever. However, you want to know what is cringy as hell? This shit right here, the reaction to this speech by the mainstream media. This article is from probably the worst outlet in gaming, The Gamer. The headline says,
Clair Obscur's Jennifer English is right. Queer joy is worth pursuing no matter the cost.
The article then says, ever since Baldur's Gate 3 became an overnight critical and commercial success back in 2023, its cast became bona fide celebrities of the video game world. Names like Neil Newbin, Samantha Baird, and Devorah Wild have become regular convention guests the world over, not to mention appearing in more and more projects as a consequence of their success. Perhaps the most prolific of those names is Jennifer English, known for bringing Shadowheart to life in the beloved RPG. She is a fantastic character, played with incredible nuance throughout, as God's favorite princess learns to stand against the corrupt teachings of Shar that raised her and strive for independence over oppression. As someone who learned to live as their true self, despite what people might think of them, Shadowheart's story is also one that resonates with thousands of LGBT people. And see, this is exactly exactly the issue in gaming that has been causing so many problems. It is always these people who make a big deal out of this shit. Jennifer English gives a speech, and most of the chuds just shrug their shoulders. Who cares? We don't give a shit. But these woke lunatics act as though this is the greatest thing that ever happened. They insufferably write articles like this one, or tweet about it, or whatever, going on and on about how happy they are to feel seen. Well, my dudes, when I play a Batman game or watch a Batman movie or something like that, I don't do it because it makes me feel seen, even though I share some immutable characteristics with Bruce Wayne. The thing is, in the parts that actually matter, I am very personally dissimilar to Bruce Wayne as a person, though we do both wear masks a lot. But no, I follow Batman because the story is interesting. I genuinely just love Batman for what that IP is. I don't watch Batman to feel seen. But this shit right here, this article from The Gamer, represents everything wrong in the gaming industry that we have been trying to call out. These people start crying their crocodile tears about being oppressed, trying to get the soft touches out there to feel sorry for them because they're gay or whatever. This is what we mean when we say that they are using our hobby as a vehicle to push their lifestyles onto other people. The article goes on, as you can imagine, but let's face it, by now we have all read this same article about 100 times. It is the only thing these people seem to care about, and the fact that they expect that the chuds are suddenly going to turn on Clair Obscur is simply wishful thinking. They want us to hate it. They want to be able to claim the game as their own, since their own games, like Dragon Age the Veilguard and Assassin's Creed Shadows, those have demonstrably struggled or outright flopped in the wake of pushback from the chuds. In other words, these people want the strife because they need it to be true that we are irredeemable monsters, because otherwise, well, they are. But I'm gonna leave it there. Let me know, does any of this Jennifer English stuff make you upset at Clair Obscur? Drop your thoughts into the comment section below, and we will talk there. Thanks for watching, me hearties. If you haven't already, your Admiral is inviting you to subscribe to the channel and become a part of the crew. Life as a space pirate may not be glamorous, but there's always plenty of booty.